Manchester United 2, Burnley 2, and yet again from winning positions, Manchester United drop points. We go ahead 2-1, we drop our heads, Bruno comes off, and Burnley get another fluke goal out of nowhere. But the scoreline doesn't paint the picture of the game. I think Darren Fletcher coached a 4-1. I actually thought for the most part that performance was enjoyable. Cesco had 7 shots. That's the most he's actually had in a game for us because we were creating chances. We were making things happen. Darren Fletcher's substitution calls were pretty spot on. His approach was pretty spot on considering the players that we had. And I thought that the football we played, bar the first 20 minutes and bar after we took Bruno off for that 10-minute period where Burnley scored, was actually some of the best football we've played all season. But we failed to beat Burnley. We've got 3 points from Leeds, Wolves and Burnley when we should be getting at least 7 at the bare minimum. And this could be the difference between finishing 12th and getting Champions League football because there's only a couple of points between 14th and 4th right now. It's absolutely nuts. But the frustrating thing is, I watched that game and there were so many positives. I thought we looked a lot better. I thought there was some good patterns of play. I felt that we deserved to win. And Burnley made 2 goal line clearances. We missed, Aiden Heaven missed a sitter. We missed a few chances. Lacey, crossbar, Lacey almost scored a worldie. And why has Ruben Amorim been ignoring Shea Lacey? Ruben Amorim has been subbing on Jack Fletcher on the right wing when he's a centre mid, when he's had Shea Lacey there with the players at AFCON. I mean, I think Fletcher, for me, didn't win the game, didn't beat Burnley, and that's concerning. But there was definitely improvements from Amorim ball. I think if Amorim was in charge tonight, we might have lost that game. Honestly, I just think we didn't have the luck. I think, Burnley made 2 goal line clearances. Our goal that was ruled out should have been given. That was soft. Carl Walker's a baby. Remember what he did to Rasmus? And Burnley scored their 2nd goal from their first shot on target. Burnley's first goal is just a really unlucky deflection of Aiden Heaven. Their 2nd goal comes from bad defending from Fletcher, but also they ran through our midfield. And signing a midfielder could be the difference between getting top 4 and finishing 12th this season. I honestly think that. Their 2nd goal comes from the first shot on target. It really came from nowhere. How we conceded 2 goals. I mean, we obviously need Delict and Maguire back as well. We obviously need midfielders. But it's so frustrating because I watched the game. I was relatively happy for the most part with the performances. I was happy with the tactics. I was happy with the subs. And we still didn't win. And it's not like Wolves where we drew. And I'm thinking Wolves could have won that game. It's not like other games that we dropped points in where I'm like, we could have lost that game. This game reminds me of the Arsenal game. Do you remember the first game of the season? We lost to Arsenal, but we didn't deserve to lose. Today, we drew to Burnley, but Amorim coached a 4-1. Not Amorim, but Fletcher coached a 4-1. And people will be saying, if it was Amorim, you'd be screaming Amorim out. Well, I don't know if you watched my Bournemouth game, but I actually said we dropped points to Bournemouth, but that wasn't on Amorim. I don't know if you watched my reaction to when we lost 2-1 Villa. I praised Amorim when we lost 2-1 to Aston Villa and said that actually he was unlucky. Amorim coached a win. Fletcher coached a win. Like Amorim coached at least a point versus Villa and lost. Amorim coached a win versus Arsenal and lost. Amorim probably coached a win versus Bournemouth and lost. Fletcher coached a win today. Burnley had 0.24 XG to our 2.25 XG. We had 30 shots, 2 big chances missed. This isn't me saying this because I don't like Ruben Amorim. This is me saying it because I watched a game of football with my eyes. Man United looked a lot better today on Darren Fletcher. We looked a lot better than Darren Fletcher, and I don't think Amorim wins that game. I thought the subs was spot on. I just think the midfield and defence was a joke. I'm really happy for Cesco. I thought Lacey, I want to see him get more minutes. But the defence and midfield was an absolute joke today. We created enough to score 4 goals. We conceded 2 random goals because the midfield and defence is a joke, and we just got a bit of unluckiness. I was a bit disappointed with Cunha today, but why is he playing on the right? I think Fletcher's biggest mistake was Cunha on the right and Dorgo on the left. I know Dorgo got an assist, but I think that was Fletcher's biggest mistake. But I want to talk about Benjamin Cesco. Benjamin Cesco's game numbers, 7 shots on target. Benjamin Cesco has not had 7 shots on target in a game for Man United all season. Ruben Amorim leaves. We play more attacking football. We actually play games looking to win and looking to attack the opposition, and Cesco scores 2 goals. Cesco scored the same amount of goals under Darren Fletcher than he has under Ruben Amorim. And that's because Darren Fletcher at least goes for games. Ruben Amorim didn't go for games. He was happy with draws. He sat back. We should have won that game. We deserved to win that game. We created enough to win that game. And we look better when we attack. We know we can't defend. But when we're on the front foot and when we try to attack, we look better. I think if Bruno Fernandes was fully fit and didn't come off, I probably think we win that game and we don't concede that silly goal. I think this says to Ineos, you have to sign a midfielder. I don't care who the interim manager is. I don't care that you sat Ruben Amorim. Ineos cannot look at that game and think we don't need a midfielder. Ineos cannot look at the game and think they don't need to sign a midfielder. We're going to play midfield 3 now, not a midfield 2. So we really need a midfielder. If Ineos think they can go by this January window and not even try and get a midfielder, they're a disgrace. I'm going to get dumb people commenting, Alice, you said Ruben Amorim was the problem. We dropped points to Burnley. Ruben Amorim was bad. Ruben Amorim needed to go. But I've always said, if you watch my videos and actually listen to what I have to say, Man United need to do more than sack Ruben Amorim to fix this club. I said sacking Ruben Amorim isn't going to fix all our problems. I said we need to sign a midfielder, whether Amorim's here or not. Because if Ineos go by January and they do not sign a midfielder, that will be the difference between getting Champions League football and getting Conference League football. I think if we sign a centre mid, we will get top 5. If we sign a half-decent centre mid, we will get top 5. This is on Ineos now. You sat Ruben Amorim, but you need to go out and bring someone in January because the interim manager is going to struggle with that midfield. Casemiro, when he plays 1 game a week, very nice this season. Casemiro, the minute you ask him to play a game every 3 days, horrific. Casemiro was playing against us today. Absolutely playing against us today. Look, I look at the game. We deserved to win by 2 clear goals. Burnley created nothing. We were by far the better team. Heaven missed a sitter. They had 2 goal line clearances. 9 times out of 10, we win that game 4-1, 4-2. We didn't have the luck today. Silly mistakes. But a lot of it just came through. Our midfield gets exploited. Burnley done nothing all game. And they get into it because the midfield is crap. But Benjamin Cesco, let's talk about him because he's going to have some confidence. And he needed that. I'm so happy for Cesco he needed that. And what annoyed me was every time Cesco did something wrong, Gary Neville had to make a point of it on commentary. Cesco got a few things wrong in the first half, but Gary Neville has to make a comment every time Cesco does things wrong to the point, well, I thought it was weird from Gary Neville, where I thought he was going too much into Cesco. One thing I will give Cesco is his movement. Even when Cesco was missing chances, his movement is 10 times that of Rasmus Højlund. Cesco's movement is 10 times that of Rasmus Højlund's. We can all agree that. Rasmus Højlund was nowhere near where he needed to be. Cesco had been frustrating the last few games because he'd been getting in the right areas and he'd not been scoring goals in the last few games where maybe he could have. But his movement was better. And once he got that first goal, the confidence he had to score the second goal. If Cesco doesn't score that first goal, I don't know if he scores that second goal just because of confidence. And he needed that. He had a smile on his face. He almost got a third. I thought Cesco was very good. 7 shots on target. And I do think Amorim Ball was holding Cesco back. And I think under Ollie Ball and learning from Ollie, I think we should see Cesco go up another level, which would be nice to see. I thought Cesco was good. I thought, Dorgu did well for the goal as well. And yeah, very happy with Benjamin Cesco. I think Gary Neville needs to just lay off Cesco a little bit. I think he was going too into Cesco. I look at the game and I think Bruno coming off was a massive blow, but Bruno was only ever going to be able to play 60 minutes. The fact that he had a hamstring injury and came back 2 weeks later, got an assist and ran that final third is not normal. Bruno Fernandes game numbers versus Burnley. 100% duels won, 88% pass accuracy, 61 total touches, 8 crosses, 7 passes into the final third, 5 chances created, 3 defensive contributions, 2 big chances created, 1 assist. Wow. Bruno is nuts. I mean, it's annoying we have to take Bruno off. There's people in this fan base that try and gaslight us to say, oh, we'd be a better team if we got rid of Bruno. We'd be a better team if we got rid of Bruno. Sorry, I just had to cough there. Man United would not be a better team without Bruno Fernandes. Can we stop this we're better without Bruno nonsense? We were 2-1 up when Bruno was on. We were 2-2. Man United without Bruno Fernandes is a much worse side. He is so important. It's a shame he had to come off because Bruno was having a very, very good game. He's superhuman. He comes back from a hamstring injury, runs the final third, gets an assist, creates 3 big chances in the first 10 minutes of the second half. Bruno Fernandes creates 3 big chances first 10 minutes of the second half, gets Cesco that all-important goal. I thought Bruno took 20 minutes to get into the game, but once he got into the game, he was fantastic. He was fantastic. And look, I think overall, the basics were better from Man United. Casemiro was poor, the midfield was a disgrace. Defence was poor, but I do think we played better. We missed Delict, we missed Maguire. We cannot defend without them. The midfield is painful. We're always conceding worldies and nothing went our way. We're better with Bruno. I thought Dorgu had a good game, to give him credit as well. I thought Dorgu did well today. But look, I thought we were better. But the thing that annoys me is I feel like we try and do the bare minimum to win. We go 2-1 up and then we just sit off them. Lacey comes on and he brings a bit of something. And some people will say, well, he missed chances. He almost scored a worldie. Lacey came on and he gave more I want to win the game than anyone else on the pitch. And that's what frustrated me was maybe the energy. We went 2-1 up to think we'd won it and we'd sit off. Because at the end of the day, I can be positive because we look better and I'm looking for the positives. But you've dropped points to Burnley after dropping points to Leeds and Wolves. We're lucky that Chelsea have dropped points and Villa have dropped points and Liverpool have Arsenal next and are probably going to drop points and everyone around us is dropping points. But that is bad. It is actually bad. When you look at it at a deeper level, how many points we're dropping. There's an opportunity to do something with 1 game a week. Obviously, the last 2 weeks, we've had 2 games a week. But it's frustrating because I feel like we really deserved to win that game. I feel like Fletcher got a lot right, and I feel like we were generally unlucky. Anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. See you next time. Bye.